the last video that we are going to be covering for right now about the weapons of Deep Rock Galactic is the Engineer's Lock 1 Smart Rifle, or just the Smart Rifle. The way this gun is an auto-aim based gun. You cannot miss with this gun unless you tap fire it. This gun is unlocked, well, its weapon assignment is unlocked when you get the Engineer to level 20. The way this gun works is you hold down the trigger and the aiming reticle comes up. Any active enemies, as in actively hostile enemies, will automatically be locked onto by this gun, and it will, when you release the trigger, it will fire however many locks you had at a time. The gun has a magazine size of 36 rounds in the magazine before it has to be reloaded. It can have a maximum number of locks of 12, which means you have 3 shots that you can fire before you have to reload the gun. However, you don't have to set all 12 charges. Most of the time, the gun has mechanics based around that lock system. It has a lock-on range of 25 meters. It will fire 6 of those lock shots per second. And it has a maximum ammo capacity of 180, which means you have approximately about 5 to 6 reloads in the gun. About 5. It also deals 21 damage per bullet. The gun can be manually fired if you need to by just tapping the gun a single time, and it will fire directly dead center on your screen. The gun has a few interesting builds to it. We're going to cover the ones that don't move around a lot. So your first choice is between, at tier 1, is between bonus damage or bonus ammo. And you're, every situation, going to want the bonus ammo. While the gun cannot miss, the gun also cannot go through terrain. It can go around. It cannot go through terrain. It also has the problem of only having 180 ammo. The 72 ammo essentially gives you 2 extra magazines, and almost every single modifier for every single overclock for this gun takes away your ammo. The bonus damage is nice, it's an extra 6 damage, but for the most part, the gun's automatically going to lock on, and it's only going to use enough bullets to kill a target. So, this modifier is really worthless. Everybody's going to take extended ammo bags. The other modifier you're going to take is for your lens. So, all of the tier 2 options are based around specifically changing how the way the gun works. The CDC Array add-on makes it so that you have a much wider range and they lock on faster. It has a wider aiming reticule for your gun. So instead of this, you got this. It also has a longer duration in which new locks can be acquired. I don't like this. I really don't. I'm used to aiming relatively tight spread, so it's kind of annoying. The macro lens is kind of interesting. What this does is dramatically increases the range at which you can lock on, turning it into a sniper rifle, 50 meters. But it dramatically tightens your field of view. I don't like the dramatically tightened field of view, therefore I run this. So it's just a solid 10 meter increase in your lock-on range. That's all it is. It's steady. These are the 2 add-ons I'm going to run in pretty much every build. You're going to run 2 separate builds primarily, depending on how you're feeling, without any overclocks. With overclocks, you're going to change it up. So, for your tier 3 add-ons, we have the Smart Targeting Software, which again should be base in the gun in my opinion. Super blow-through rounds, or electrochemical rounds. The Smart Targeting makes it so that more locks will not be placed on a target than is necessary to kill it. This means that if you have a horde of enemies, the gun will lock on to one enemy and put 8 targets on it or something like that, and the other enemies will have like 3 or 4, depending on where they are when the gun locks on. That means that the gun will only fire enough bullets to kill that target in front, plus the other ones around it. If you have 12 locks on, and there's 8 on one target, and 1 on 4 other targets, it's only going to fire the necessary amount to kill that one with 8, plus those other 1 bullets at the other 4 enemies. The remaining ammo is just kept in your gun. This, in my opinion, should be base kit. I don't think you need a modifier for this, but that's just me. The electrical chemical rounds make it so that You deal bonus damage to any electrified or burning targets. This is designed to pair well with the Scout, if they are running an electric build, like the Stasis Grenade, the Zukov, the Plasma Carbine. It's designed to pair well with flaming-based characters, such as the Gunner with the minigun, flame modifier, the nitroglycerin, or the nitro type build for the Hurricane, the volatile rounds and the incendiary grenade for the Magnum and the grenade, the incendiary grenades for the Driller, the flamethrower with the Driller, the APC for the Driller. Basically, if you play around with any of those guys, you deal bonus damage. It's 20% bonus damage whenever those bullets hit, so it's approximately 2 damage per shot, which is pretty good. Or you can do the blow-through rounds, which allow each bullet fired from the smart gun to penetrate. This gives you crowd clearing potential. But remember that the bullets are automatically fired, and they're sometimes fired in a weird arc, so sometimes you're just gonna miss. And also, if the bullets curve kind of upwards and go down, they're just gonna hit straight into the ground. So this is kind of a weird one to do, but if you're not running any electric or fire modifiers, there's no reason to run this. So it really depends on the build as we go further. Next up in Tier 4, we have the Shutter Speed Sensor. This reduces the time it takes for the lock-ons to be acquired by 15%. Or you have the Aperture Extension, which increases the maximum number of lock-ons from 12 to 6, so 50% more. Personally, I prefer to run this one because I want less locks on the gun. I want to be able to reach maximum locks faster. Most of the modifiers that you have are going to be based around that. There are a few overclocks, though, where you do want to increase the number of locks that you have, but for the most part, I want less locks so I can reach that maximum amount faster. The last one that we have, there are 2 basic mods, 2 basic builds, and that's what we'll explain in a second. The Sphere one is not great. The way it works is that a full lock of 12 shots will cause fear on enemies. However, it's weird how it works, and I don't quite fully understand it. Just don't touch it. You don't want this. Alright? Leave it at that. There are 2 basic builds. You have the full lock bonus damage build, or you have the bonus damage electrified build. So the electric generator mod means that any target that has 3 locks on it is electrocuted automatically when it's shot, which means it pairs very well with the electrochemical rounds for the bonus 20% damage. This is primarily good for bigger targets, because of the fact that you're going to need 3 locks or more to kill something like a Praetorian. So then you get bonus 20% damage on it, which is nice. Against crowds, it's not great, because most crowds are going to die in like 3 hits to a target anyways, so you're not going to get the 20% damage. That's where the second build comes in. The penetrate rounds with the unstable lock mechanism. This adds 20% damage to all of the shots in the burst, all 12 of them, if you fully lock on all 12 shots. This is very good for clearing waves because it adds that damage to all of the shots, not just a few. This gun has a few downsides, though, that I want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the overclocks at all because every overclock that this gun has, like, changes how it plays. So, the downside is that, for one, it's the lowest ammo option out of all of them. Even though you never miss, in my opinion, it's lower than the Warthog because of the fact that it still can take multiple shots to kill an enemy. It also can't be manually aimed, which means if you need to shoot something in a ceiling, like gunk seeds, you have to tap fire the gun, and if you don't know that you can tap fire the gun, you're just going to waste grenade launcher and breach cutter ammo for no reason. Because turrets won't target it unless you have the Hawkeye, and even then, that's terrible, you don't want to run that. It also suffers from only having really 2 builds without an overclock on it. So, this gun does offer really good range. It has the best range, in my opinion, of all 3 primaries. It deals the most damage, in my opinion, out of all 3 primaries. It just takes a lot of skill to learn how to use. A lot of skill. I hated this gun when I first started playing with it. Now it's alright, but it takes a lot of skill to get comfortable with how the mechanics work. There's also no armor break built into the gun that is based around overclocks. This means that for shit like Praetorians, you're gonna have to have a secondary weapon to pair with it. Anyways, that is the last of the engineer weapons at this time.